Past 36 hours, at least 4 children have been shot in our area, 2 of them deadly.
Just heart-wrenching. Can't even describe it any other way. The latest, a 9-year-old girl who may have been a victim of a domestic dispute. Fox 26's Nate Griffin is live in the Houston Heights with more. Nate, what have you learned on this one?
Well, Melissa and Jose, good morning to you. Very sad story here. First of all, we just found out that the suspect, 22-year-old Jeremiah Jones, is going to be charged with capital murder. This is what we just found out. Authorities are actually seeking an arrest warrant for his capture as we speak. That is what we know. Let me unpack this story for you. Once again, very, very tragic. Happened around 10:30 last night here on Oxford Street off I-10, which is near the Heights. A mother and her 3 children, approximate ages 1, 3, and 9, were watching television in their apartment when a former boyfriend, who was not happy about the previous breakup with the mom, shows up and makes entry into that apartment. They didn't have any children together, nor had they been married. Now, according to authorities, the mother, who lives with a cousin, was warned by that cousin. The suspect was at the apartment complex, but it was just a little too late. The unthinkable took place once Jones made entry.
The family got separated. The suspect here executed a 9-year-old little girl in the apartment with a handgun. He then went after the mother, and she was shot also. However, she did survive the injuries, and she's at the hospital now, and I have interviewed her. But we do have a person of interest we're looking for. Of course, he's no longer here. We're looking for a man by the name of Jeremiah Jones.
And once again, Jeremiah Jones is going to be charged with capital murder. Officer Cass did give us a description and the type of car that he's driving. The suspect's a black male out on block.
Like a swarm, a band of robbers stormed into this Island, New Jersey jewelry store. The employees were immediately overwhelmed by the rush of thieves wearing all black clothing.
I hear it 8 people, they covered their faces, 2 cars, Mercedes, and there is no number on it. They
No license plates, no nothing.
No license, no nothing. They say they came from New York.
With armed robbers on the loose, many here still don't want to show their faces. In the surveillance video from 7:45 Friday evening, we can count 8 robbers running into this store called Virani Gold and Diamonds. That's a lot of manpower for one heist. And police think there could be even more suspects we can't see, the getaway drivers. The local store owners here told me these thieves clearly knew what they were doing.
They knew the store had a buzzer and how to get in.
There are a number of different jewelry stores all along this same stretch of road, more than a dozen. So why did the robbers select this particular store? The shop owners across the street have a theory. You see this yellow curb right here? This prevents most people from stopping here in front of the jewelry store. So a getaway driver can pull up here at almost any time. And then from this location, it's just 2 blocks down this street, a left-hand turn, and you're back on the freeway out of here. Store owners say that shows planning and experience. Jewelry store workers tell us this crime definitely has them on edge and rethinking their security measures.
Thank God they did it.
A wild robbery caught on camera in Brooklyn. You see the suspects ride their moped on the sidewalk, coming up behind the victim and then pulling the purse off her shoulder as they pass. The victim falls, sustaining injuries to her face and right hand. This happened Sunday in Sunset Park near 57th Street and 8th Avenue. The purse contained a cell phone and about $700 in cash. Police are still searching for the suspects.
Tonight I'm here to provide you with an update on the officer involved shooting. devastating news, and certainly not the outcome that anyone in this community wanted. Nearly a 5-square-mile area had been searched since yesterday. In the end, the boy's body was found almost within sight of the home that he somehow wandered away from.
Tragically, at about 10 after 1 this afternoon, Harry's body was located in a pond adjacent to Rowley's Tree Farm.
Middlesex DA Marion Ryan says the body of 3-year-old Harry Condi was found close to shore, submerged in about 5 feet of water. The pond is about 650 feet straight from the babysitter's house on Frida Lane that Harry somehow walked away from yesterday.
He was clothed in the clothes he had last been seen in. There was no indication of external trauma.
Leading up to the sad discovery, the search earlier today was even more urgent and robust than yesterday. About 200 personnel were taking part in the search, using a wide variety of techniques and equipment.
That pond was searched at about 11 o'clock yesterday morning by Lowell Fire Department. Obviously, Harry was not located in that area. And I want to again emphasize, we do not know where he was from the time he went missing until he was located in the pond today.
We spoke to Harry's aunt shortly before the boy's body was discovered.
The mother is taking it like minute by minute. It's not easy.
Even though Harry's body has been found, this case is not closed. The ME will conduct an autopsy and the district attorney will continue investigating. There are still so many questions about how Harry just slipped away from his babysitter.
She stabbed me right in my heart, and it was like, she said the B word, it was like, you could die. And I was still in shock.
Sitting in a hospital bed with a 12-inch scar down the middle of her chest, Ashley Williams in here because she says her mom stabbed her.
Only thing I recall is her coming at me like with the knife. Like, I didn't even see my mom. I seen a demon, like a real demon. Like, she had veins in her head. Her eyeballs was popping out.
It happened on Ashley's 34th birthday earlier this month at her mom's home off Myers Road on Detroit's west side. They were celebrating at first. Then at the end of the night, Ashley says her mom just snapped, coming at her with a kitchen knife.
I love my mom, and the whole thing is I really, like I've been saying, like, I don't want her to go to prison for a long time, but I want her to know that she can't keep getting away with stuff.
Hard to believe she can say that just 2 weeks after being stabbed in the heart. Ashley says her mom battles with alcoholism, but Ashley, the oldest sibling, still looks after her. Even the day this happened, Ashley picked her mom up after she'd wrecked another car.
I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back to work. Like, they don't know when I'm going to be in the clear. They said I probably will never breathe the same again. 2
open heart surgeries and more complications means hospital bills are piling up. And Ashley, of course, cannot return to work as a housekeeper at a local hotel, sharing her story and a GoFundMe page for some help.
I would greatly appreciate it. Like, I really don't.
Beaten to death and her body was dumped in a field. Natalia Morse's life was cut short earlier this month at the age of 24, and today her family pleaded for clues in the case. Victor Williams has the story as they search for justice.
Yes, it's hard to believe that someone would just beat a woman to death and then throw her body into a field just like this one. Family members still can't believe to this day that it happened.
She was viciously beaten, left in a field. Someone out there did this to her. She didn't deserve this.
24-year-old Natalia Morris's body was found on June the 4th in a vacant lot near Lenox and Canfield. Since then, her death has remained a mystery.
She was so outgoing. You know, she was an average young 24-year-old.
Her family has been and will continue their search for justice during this rough and unfortunate time. But the journey hasn't been easy. Natalia's younger siblings had to graduate high school right after finding out the unfortunate news of her death.
They looked up to her. What's going on now? They so messed up. Imagine going to your graduation knowing just less than a few hours ago, you just got the news your older sister is dead. How could you walk across that stage?
The question remains, however, who would want to do such a thing to a girl, something that loved ones are asking themselves every day.
We can't bring Natalia back, but y'all can help us get justice for her.
This was brazen. This happened in broad daylight.
A brazen attack on a woman in broad daylight back in March that Starr remembers well. She lives across the street from where it happened, and tonight she's relieved after authorities announced they made an arrest.
Definitely glad. It's too much going on in the world to be having loose cannons out like that, assaulting women. I mean, women, we have to protect ourselves.
Investigators say 19-year-old Malik Tristan targeted the woman who was jogging on this trail next to a retention pond, tackling her to the ground and sexually assaulting her before running away.
The suspect was employed in a nearby location, and the clothing fit the description of that place of employment, and people were able to identify him from this sketch.
The woman in her 40s called police and was able to give a good description of her attacker, which authorities say helped them identify a suspect within 2 weeks. Deputies in Fort Bend County say Tristan turned himself in on May 31st on other outstanding warrants, shortly after the sketch of a possible suspect was created by Houston police and released to the public.
He thought he disguised himself by shaving off his dress. The description and the photo array of him, it was so close to match, the victim recognized him.
They say Tristan admitted to knowing details.
Well, new at noon, police are investigating a tragedy at the Avenue M subway station in Brooklyn. Police say a man has died after his clothing got stuck in a subway door while he was getting off a train. He was dragged by the Q train, and an incoming train then hit him. This happened last night just before midnight. We're working to get more details on this developing story.
A man is facing murder charges for allegedly shooting and killing a woman when she tried to run away from him. DeKalb County police say Taco Nash forcefully removed the 21-year-old woman and her child from a daycare on Snapfinger Park Circle yesterday afternoon. Police say as the woman was trying to get away, he shot her. Police have not said how the two knew each other. The child was taken to the hospital for minor injuries.
Police are searching for a group of thieves who stole dozens of ATMs from businesses in Queens and Brooklyn over the last few months. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge spoke to staff who say they got away with tens of thousands of dollars.
Surveillance video shows a man dressed in black pull an ATM machine off the wall and drag it through a deli on Fulton Street in East New York. The suspect pushes it over to a broken window where an accomplice is waiting. The pair appear to try to figure out how to get the machine out of the store.
I don't see how they did that, though. I'm trying to figure it out.
Police are too. They're looking for a group of 5 seemingly professional burglars who hit 42 businesses across Queens and Brooklyn over the last 6 months. Not just robbing registers, but stealing entire ATM machines.
They broke in the door, the glass, they knocked it down.
On May 12th at 2 a.m., they hit the Country House Diner at 887 Fulton Street and ripped the ATM off the wall.
Trying to grab the machine, they couldn't make it out with it because it was too heavy.
That same night, 2 hours later, security video shows 2 men smash the door at Wholesome Farms Market across the street at 840 Fulton Street.
They break the door, and then they try to get some money inside, and then they couldn't.
Since December, the suspects have hit smoke shops, delis, nail salons, barbershops, grocery stores, and donut shops. All of the thefts have happened overnight when stores are closed.
They close the stores. They break the window and they do that shit.
Police say in total they made off with more than $60,000 worth of cash. Fortunately, no one was hurt in any of the incidents.
The police didn't, so far they didn't do nothing with us.
Investigators are asking the public for tips, hoping to prevent a 43rd robbery. In East New York, Brooklyn, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
Innocent bystanders struck by gunfire at a Bay Area bar not long after the Warriors won their NBA championship.
It happened on a busy street in front of a lot of people in downtown Oakland, and it was all caught on surveillance camera.
KPX5's Da Lin has the exclusive video and talked to nervous business owners and neighbors.
Surveillance footage shows the shooting was a targeted hit. The murder victim was standing right next to the van, but stray bullets hit multiple bystanders. It was a busy night on 14th Street. A lot of people out and about in downtown Oakland. Some were perhaps celebrating the Warriors winning a championship. Just before 10:30 Thursday night, surveillance video showed the victim in the yellow jacket walking near 14th and Harrison. As he was talking to a couple of women, an SUV pulled up on the street. 4 gunmen got out and opened fire on him. It appeared a gun was jammed briefly. The driver of the SUV came around and fired a few more shots at the victim as he was on the ground. Here's a different camera angle. Oakland police say the targeted victim died at the scene. So far, no motive. They would only say the victim was a 25-year-old San Francisco man. Police say the shooting injured a woman who was talking to the victim. A bullet grazed a security guard standing in front of the nearby Halftime Sports Bar. Stray bullets also hit 2 customers inside a different bar.
This had nothing at all to do with any Warriors game. It had nothing to do with my bar or 310. It had everything to do with the climate of the Bay Area, with gun violence.
It's unclear where the victim was going or what brought him to 14th Street. The owner of Halftime Sports Bar, James Daly, says he worries for the safety of his customers and staff.
I have 3 daughters that work in my place, and it scares.
Police making an arrest after a woman was ambushed in an attack in Hollywood. The suspect is just 14 years old. The SWAT team stormed the teen's home today, just blocks away from where that attack happened.
Let's get right to Local 10's Andrew Perez live in Hollywood with our top story at 6. Andrew.
And police are saying this kid is a really big guy. We're talking more than 6 feet tall, more than 200 pounds. This attack, it was so brutal, so gruesome, and police are considering charging him as an adult. In walks Terry Berger Smith, set to face a judge for rape. The details are just brutal, and Smith is 14 years old.
When you hear about a sexual battery, it's already disturbing. And then when you add in the fact that the suspect is 14 years old, it just makes it that much more disturbing.
Hollywood police arresting the teen who may now be charged as an adult. His father appearing virtually in court, asking the judge for help.
My son is 14 years old, and, the local news is just, showing his picture and just, is there anything that can be done about that?
But Hollywood police released those pictures, asking the public for help to identify a rapist. Detectives say the teen sexually battered a woman as she was walking to work. This was off South Park Road, right near Hollywood Boulevard, around 4 a.m. Friday, sending shockwaves through the area.
We've been very uneasy, in the neighborhood.
As word got around and pictures kept spreading, police were led to Berger Smith, executing a warrant.
We're all happy and thankful that they did catch the guy, because now we can kind of have some reassurance.
While I can't really talk about the investigative techniques that went into this, I can say that this was just really good police work. And we also have to thank the public, because it was in part with the public where they were able to provide our detectives some surveillance videos.
And I'm Joe Torres. We'll have that story in a moment, but first we have some breaking news that's happening in the Bronx.
An innocent bystander at an annual basketball tournament at a playground became the latest victim of gun violence here in the city. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang is live in Morris Heights. Lucy?
Well, Sandra, annual Father's Day basketball tournament, an active crime scene after a woman is shot. It happened shortly before 9 this evening. Police confirm a 25-year-old woman, an innocent bystander, was shot in the left shoulder. She was rushed to St. Barnabas Hospital, where she is expected to survive. For many years, this community here in the Morris Heights section of the Bronx would host a Father's Day basketball tournament here at Half Nelson Playground. This year, Father's Day coincided with Juneteenth, and you can see balloons celebrating that holiday as well. Tonight, teams of police are busy searching the playground for evidence.
The NYPD is looking for a gunman who shot 3 people outside a catering hall in Queens, killing one of them. Surveillance video shows the suspect opening fire in the parking lot. Officers say it happened in Ozone Park around 5 o'clock this morning after some kind of argument. Neighbors say they heard at least 15 shots. Investigators say a 38-year-old man was killed. A 32-year-old man was shot in the face and is in stable condition. Another 32-year-old man was shot in the leg and is expected to survive.
This man spent Father's Day protecting his child from a gunman. It happened at a gas station in Detroit. Police released video of the incident showing the suspect opened the door to the gas station's convenience store, pulled out a gun and a clip from his pants, inserted the clip, and then pointed it at a man inside who was holding a baby. That protective dad immediately reacted, swatting the gun away and then running further into the store as the gunman retreated outside.
The suspect can be seen outside the store, backing away before turning around and leaving. Police released the video on social media, asking anyone who can identify the suspect to report the information immediately. They say a person of interest is now in custody in this case. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
Mayor Eric Adams expected to make a public safety announcement this afternoon.
Yesterday, a college basketball standout was shot and killed in Harlem. And in a separate incident, 2 people were shot on a Bronx basketball court. CBS 2's John Diaz has more on both cases and how the community is reacting.
I can hear boom, boom, like 7 shots.
Ramona Lewis was glad she was safe inside her home when gunshots rang out on the basketball court at the Jackson houses in the Melrose section of the Bronx around 9:30 Monday night, but feels for her community and those injured.
It's terrible, terrible.
Detectives say 2 men who were innocent bystanders were hit by bullets from a drive-by shooting. They're both expected to pull through. It's the same basketball court that youth organizations are planning games for kids to avoid such violence. But parents say it seems nothing will help.
Good to know everywhere you go is trouble. Every place you go is going to be shooting.
There is no real safe space for the kids because they'll do anything, like anywhere.
The latest NYPD data shows that shootings citywide are down almost 11% so far this year compared to last, but up 47% compared to 2 years ago. And with today being the official start of summer, many fearing the worst. As temperatures rise, traditionally speaking, so does gun violence.
It's going to be worse. Really. It's all I forget. It's too much.
The shooting comes less than 24 hours after rising college basketball star 21-year-old Darius Lee died from gun violence in Harlem. 8 others were also shot, but not fatally. Investigators believe it happened after a dispute broke out during a barbecue, and a group was also filming a music video.
This is something different. Nobody expect that. The guy don't curse. He don't hang out. He don't drink. He don't do anything. He just played PS5 and played basketball.
Lee's family says he was home from college for the summer and was supposed to graduate in December. His sister heard the gunfire.
She heard the shots. She called him. He didn't answer. She called him again. He didn't answer. His best friend called his mom and said, "I'm sorry." She said, "Sorry for what?" He's like, "I'm sorry." She said, "Darius was shot."
And police have yet to make an arrest in either case. From the Melrose section of the Bronx, John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
Attacked and robbed at a Bronx subway station. Investigators say around 12:30 this afternoon, a 19-year-old woman was slashed on her chin and her arm at the Parkchester subway station. Police say the suspect stole her phone and necklace. The victim is now recovering at the hospital. No arrests have been made.
Terrifying moments right outside of the shops at the Legacy in Plano. A teen girl gets away from an attempted trafficker. CBS 11's JD Miles tells us what you should do if you ever see anything like this.
It was right here in the middle of Plano's Shops at Legacy where a 17-year-old girl escaped from a violent human trafficker she had been with for a year. If not for some observant witnesses watching nearby and intervening, authorities say it's likely she would still be in his clutches. It's security camera video of 2 people talking outside a nail salon in Plano's Shops at Legacy. You probably wouldn't pay much attention to them until the male stomps hard on the female's foot. It's followed by a violent punch that knocks her to the ground.
I feel sick to my stomach. And for all of us who have daughters, it's just the most unthinkable situation you can imagine.
Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis says you're watching the brutal violence associated with human trafficking play out in public. A passerby notices the man dragging the 17-year-old girl by her hair to the car, throw her into the open passenger side door and close it. She quickly opens it and escapes. By that time, several witnesses were ready to intervene, and the man speeds off by himself.
I'm so proud of those citizens that were there and didn't run away and didn't turn a blind eye.
29-year-old Ricky Stevenson was later captured and sentenced last week to 59 years in prison. Willis says that's a message to traffickers like this one, who flaunt being a pimp on social media, force their victims to get loyalty tattoos, as well as threaten them if they try to leave.
He thought that he can manipulate the legal system here in Collin County by ensuring that the victim not show up. He thought if the victim didn't show up, he would be free.
The victim was only 16 when she was kidnapped and forced into prostitution along with 2 other females. This Collin County case is the first known anywhere involving a trafficker who was convicted only with the testimony from witnesses and no cooperation from the victim.
When you are asked to testify, you are basically opening yourself up to being re-traumatized, what we say re-victimized.
Chelsea Robertson with Poetic, a nonprofit that offers schooling and resources for sex trafficking victims, says they often refuse to testify against their abusers. That's why she says it's so important for witnesses to come forward and help build strong criminal cases like this one.
Anytime that you see a youth, especially, intervening would always be like the correct action to take.
You've heard it said